Hello, welcome back to Observing the Sabbath. I'm Nathaniel Molnar, and this is our continuation of the 1970 album Black Sabbath, by Black Sabbath, of course. Our last video, we listened to their titular song, Black Sabbath, which if you have not seen yet, you can go on the channel, you can find it there. We are continuing through the album, and we're going to be listening now to The Wizard. So without further ado, let's get right into it with The Wizard. I love the harmonica. And the harmonica comes back in with their last album, their last studio album in 1978, Never Say Die. But what I love, especially if you're listening to this as a record, as a whole, when you have the first Black Sabbath song, it's the horror and it's evoking that imagery, and then you go right into this harmonica. It's such an interesting contrast, and that is something that they do really well with their songs, is having distinct contrasts within each song, not necessarily just one song right after the other, but within the same song you can have stark contrasts between parts of songs and tempos and change and everything. It's one of the things they do really interesting. You have the harmonica, like, going with the same riff as the guitar. Now, they have some songs where they just go full fantasy, which is really interesting, because, a lot of their songs, you have, like, Paranoid as an album. It's a lot more political, it's more about the realist of what's going on, especially with War Pigs and Hand of Doom. You have other albums and songs that are more about kind of painting the reality of life and hardship and what's going on, like Killing Yourself to Live. But then you have songs like this, or Symptom of the Universe, or other songs that are just sort of more pure fantasy, just kind of like delving off into something so unique and so different. It's just really interesting to see that. Oh, the riff is just so good. Ozzy's voice is really good here. Like, sometimes with his voice, he's just following the riff, which I think for a lot of songs works really well. But with this, it has sort of its own cadence to it. Like, he's following his own beat, which works really well with the main riffs, but it's not exactly just following the riff. I just love, like, this song. I wouldn't like it as much as they did it with, like, every single song, or if it was, like, a staple point of the entire band, but the idea of having the harmonica and just how well it works with the guitar is just so good. Like, again, I wouldn't want it for every single song, but for every once in a while, and especially with this song, because you are delving into more of the fantastical with the lyrics, it kind of gives it that extra quality, that extra edge. That makes it stand out, and it's rather unique, and it works so well with the main guitar riff as well. Do 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 do. See, there's a lot of Black Sabbath songs where some of the songs, there's like maybe 4 or 5 different riffs that it's kind of, or parts of the song where it's kind of changing throughout. And then there's some where it's like one thing that it's kind of sticking on, and it's maybe 2 different riffs that it's going back and forth between. This is one of those. That's the end of the song. This is one of those where it kind of has the main riff, and then it has another part, and then a quieter part. And it's like these 3 different parts that it's kind of switching between. Whereas some of their other songs are more like it's 5 or 6 or 7 different parts that it's switching between. And I think you'll see with St. Vitus's Dance on Volume 4, that's one where it's it's the one riff that they're kind of going through the entire time. And while some might see that as rather simplistic, I think if the riff is strong enough and the song is short enough, it works really well. So, The Wizard, I think, is a great song. I really like this one. Question is, guys, what do you think? Are you a fan of The Wizard? Do you like the song? What are your thoughts on the song itself? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and make sure to subscribe to keep going with our look into Black Sabbath, the first album by Black Sabbath. So until our next video, thank you for watching.